Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show Review with Mike G, the show of life, the show of Stanley Kubrick, traveling New York, Netflix, having a life, and Scotch, Lagavulin, Cool Isla, Glenmorangie, and Ardbeg, and so much more. It's been way too long since I've had this amazing chat with Brendan McCarron of Ardbeg and Glenmorangie, head of maturation over there. It was an amazing chat, but I've taken so long to bring it to you, and I'll tell you why, actually. Scotch was the last chapter for me to learn about spirits, to understand the rich history, the diverse flavors and regions. And Brendan sitting in here with me in the studio, this was a launching point, a turning point for my interest in Scotch. And such other people like Dan Kroll and Catherine Sikora. These are people that have influenced me, and now, you know what? This is the right time and the right guy to talk about Scotch. So, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this great chat with the head of maturation for Ardbeg and Glenmorangie, Mr. Brendan McCarron.
Staying in New York, living on like this massive America trip.
Yeah.
So in New York, I had a busy day, but I had nothing on in the evening. So they offered to take me out for dinner, but been like 5-6 days in a row. So I was like, no, I'm just going to go to my room, have room service, and not even drink. I'm just going to have like water. And they had an option to log into your own Netflix account.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So I didn't think that would work because I've got UK Netflix. Right. Obviously, I've got Netflix. So I can't live without it. But I logged in and I ended up sitting in New York City with a buzz going on all around, watching Full Metal Jacket by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh my God, Kubrick! Yes.
Now I've seen that 100 times, but
watched
it again.
How do you feel? All right, so talking about film commentary here. How do you feel about like this abrupt second act? Right, so they're in training and it's really riveting and it's like really what the movie to me is all about. But then all of a sudden, they're back in battle. It's kind of a different movie from that point, right?
That's true. Two completely different movies, and the first 10 times I watched it, I only liked the first half.
That's right, yeah.
The second half ran out of steam. But actually, now that I watch it, like just on, when was I in New York? Like 2 nights ago? But actually, I really, really loved the second scene, the second act. Yeah. Even though I know everything that's going to happen, I know everyone is going to die. And,
sure.
But no, I thought it was really quite brutal and, didn't glamorize war at all. And it just looked like hell on earth.
It's more abstract in a way because like the first half is just people doing this thing to a schedule being really rigid. Then that second act, everything unfolds.
Yeah, and people not obeying orders. People
it's pretty nasty.
So yeah, I ended up leaving New York City the next morning at 9 a.m. And the whole way to the airport, I just downloaded things onto my phone that I could read in the plane. And all of it was facts you didn't know about Full Metal Jacket, Wikipedia page of Full Metal Jacket, Matthew Modine's take on Full Metal Jacket. So now I've learned a whole load of stuff that I didn't know about, which I now need to go out and buy. Like Matthew Modine kept a diary during the show.
Are you kidding me?
So during the film, he kept a diary. Kubrick asked him to do it so that he got into the kind of mentality of being a
method
reporter.
Acting?
Yeah, because he's maybe a reporter in the film. And apparently he was asked to read that out to the rest of the team during the boot camp stages. Yeah. So now he's actually done it as an audiobook and he also released it as a diary. So it's called Full Metal Jacket Diary. So now
I had no idea. That's incredible.
Neither did I, but it's just when I go back to things like this, I do love sort of movies, music, films. I know movies and films are the same thing. But then I'm really into just reading up on them and finding out little
Me too.
facts.
Do you do this? So IMDb is an amazing resource, right?
Yeah.
So I'll watch a movie and be like, this guy looks familiar. What was he in?
Yep.
And then I'll go backwards and I'll go find all these other movies. Like, oh, that's the same director. Do you do this too?
Yes,
when you
I do. So just by doing that, I found out that Cowboy, who dies at the end of Full Metal Jacket. Sorry, anyone that didn't know that.
1986, right? But
it's a bit late. Yeah. But he's called Arlen. He's called Arlen something. I can't remember his full name. But he's married to Deborah Winger.
What? So Deborah Winger, really?
Yeah, so she married Cowboy from Full Metal Jacket.
See, it's so strange to me, all of this stuff, dude. Like, oh man. Researching Sam Elliott, just randomly, it was like, he's married to her. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
It is. Okay, so, all right, this is a great way to kind of position all this stuff. Does this make you well equipped? Okay, so you're interested in what is ultimately like the hierarchy and the nomenclature, like the way everything's built together, right? Does that make whiskey as a whole something for you that then becomes kind of the same thing? It's like, what guy made that one? Oh, he made that one? Well, did he make that one? You go back and look at it like directors, like actors.
Yeah, I think I just like certain things, and certain things I'm not going to say obsessive because it's such an overused word.
Sure.
But certain things I find it easier to learn about than others. So I did a university degree in chemical engineering, and I struggled.
Strathclyde, is that right?
Yeah, Strathclyde Uni. I struggled. It was really, really tough. It was just so difficult, and it's like fluids and pressures and this and that. But a lot of it was around distillation. But the actual pure theory of it was just so tough. But then when I left university, I got my degree, and I got a job with Diageo, a whiskey company. And very early on, I got tasked onto this project with another chemical engineer to design a distillery. So when you start doing that, there was all these words and phrases coming out that I was like, I've never heard of this word in my life. So he suggested that what I should do is do these whiskey exams, and it's called the IBD, Institute of Brewing and Distilling, Diploma in Distilling. And genuinely, it's just really interesting. So I ended up starting to learn to answer the questions, but then that same thing of, well, why does this happen? Why does that happen?
Right.
Why does this happen? Why does that happen?
Exactly.
And then I was surrounded by people on that team of, I think there was 10 or 12 people on our project team. I had 3 months experience. The next low experienced person was 22 years.
Jeez.
So it was just like you had this, like you had, Google around you, or Wikipedia of whiskey, just these people with, between them a couple of 100 years experience. So I was just always asking, but always interested, and it really genuinely is fascinating. I joke about how I have this geeky obsession with barley.
Yeah.
But I genuinely do. There's so much stuff that you can learn about barley, and I find it interesting.
It is. It's. I mean, me too. Of course, I prefer pop culture, but I do love booze. I mean, like when it comes to agave, for instance, I'm that same kind of way. Well, so all right. So this is an interesting thing because it seems like you have this kind of. I love people that are rooted in pop culture because we're great at a party. So if you're like, oh, you remember that fucking movie about that fucking thing? Like, that it's ended up being a really good facilitation for conversation. But so. Growing up in Coatbridge, right, in Scotland, what kind of kid were you then? Because it seems like you went down kind of a math, science path, but it also seems like you've got this kind of interest in arts and creative stuff as well.
Well, so I'm from a big family, so I'm one of 5 kids, a big enough family, and I'm the 4th out of 5. So I had 2 older sisters, an older brother, and a younger brother. Growing up, the early stages, I was really into computer games, so Nintendo.
So the original NES, right?
The little grey toaster. We even had the robot that used to spin the discs to control the controllers, which was shit.
Do you remember the Power Glove? I was talking about that the other night.
Power Glove never made it to us, but we had I can't remember his name, but it was a robot.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
And you played. I can remember the game you played. You played a game called Gizmodo, where you had to move columns up and down. So I had that.
That taking me back,
Then I started playing Super Mario. Eventually moved on to a Super NES. Like properly brand loyal as well. So I played a lot of computer games. I played a lot of soccer, as you call it here. We call it football. That was another big thing for me. And then movies. See, it's funny, there's a Star Wars poster here.
Yeah, that's right.
And some people will call it The New Hope, but I don't call it The New Hope because it was never called The New Hope.
What was it called?
Until everything else came out.
That's right, yeah.
It was just called Star Wars.
It's still just Star Wars.
Star Wars,
yeah.
But Star Wars, so the original one, the one with Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Alec Guinness.
One, I used to watch that after school every single day.
Did you really?
When I came back from school on a like an old cassette kind of thing called a Betamax.
Yeah, wait,
huge.
Betamax?
Yeah, the Betamax.
Oh shit!
Everyone else in the world had a VHS and we had Betamax. Which meant when you went to like the video store, like Blockbuster, before it was Blockbuster, it was called Azad, and then they had like 6 Betamax cassettes,
and that was it. No kidding.
So I used to watch Star Wars obsessively.
But it makes, you know what's good about Star Wars, though? It makes you think. And not like in a philosophical way. It makes you think, I can maybe imagine things I never imagined before, right? It piques your imagination.
I mean,
I think in a really
I was
good
young
way.
when I was into that. I wasn't like 6, 7 years old, but I just loved it. I just so loved that movie. And then I'd say like the 80s was the best time, or the early 90s for cinema. Like movies at the cinema, action movies.
Yeah.
So
Die Hard. Well, that's late 80s, but
that was so maybe I had to watch that when I was a little older, because my parents were pretty strict about,
See, my parents, they just let me watch whatever, and I'm like, I'm surprised I'm so well adapted. I watched some shit when I was young.
I didn't get to see the older stuff till I was old.
Yeah.
But no, like, just, I grew up, I guess I grew up with pretty much video games, movies, and soccer.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing. Well, it's like a good combination.
Yeah.
So then your passions to go to university, as I'm sure people encourage your folks, probably encourage you to do. Where does that leave you in terms of what kind of discipline are you going to study? You got to do something different.
I decided that I was going to do history.
History, okay.
I was pretty good at history at school. Yeah. And that was basically the reason I decided is I got a high mark in history, and I won a couple of essay competitions in history. Mostly around stuff that I'd watch in movies as well. So stuff around World War One in particular, and a little stuff on World War Two. Actually, the build up to World War Two.
Yeah.
But that was it. So I was going to do that. My older brother, who was already through university or just about to finish university with a law degree, he sort of sat me down and said, think about it. Why do you want to do it? And I was like, well, I got the highest mark in history, so that's what I'll do. And I was like, well, think about jobs, think about, what
be pragmatic,
opportunities,
kind of, right?
Yeah, what opportunities will you have when you come out? What's the reason you're going to college, university we got? And then after that, that's when I started looking at, and he'd sort of helped me out, and he's like, you're good at chemistry, you're good at maths. So I started looking at, and then eventually chemical engineering came out. I also looked at civil engineering and at environmental engineering.
It's all kind of facets of engineering.
Pretty quickly, I started to focus in on chemicals, so that became my first choice.
Did that come from, were your folks in that industry at all? It seems, so your brother in the law industry, seems pretty varied.
No, so my mum works in a checkout for Asda, which is Walmart here.
Oh, okay.
My dad worked for an insurance collection company, just collecting money.
So you guys all had this kind of interesting, unique growing up. So your other siblings and stuff, they probably pursued some other stuff?
It's all quite varied, yeah. So my sister designs fighter jets.
What?
My oldest
Really?
sister, yeah. My brother has a law degree but doesn't practice law. He's like in learning and development.
Really?
And then one other older sister, she's sort of part-time. She works part-time because she has lots of young kids. My nieces. And then my younger brother, he's kind of part carpenter, part what we say bricklayer, builder,
mason.
Sorry,
kind of
person that literally puts the bricks together to build a house. Say builder.
No, bricklayer is good. Yeah, sure.
So that's like a qualified trade as well. So he kind of does that. So yes, we're all pretty varied.
It's very different. If you guys put all the minds together, it's possible you could start your own civilization.
Yeah, or
you kind of have everything.
It's possible we could also start a civil war, I think, if you put it all in one room.
I mean, either way, it's exciting to watch. It's going to be good. But thinking about food, for instance, and maybe booze and scotch, which was probably ubiquitous as you're growing up, right? Was that any piece of growing up as well? Like eating together, cooking meals, sipping scotch? Like, is that part of the culture too for you?
No. I'm not going to try and paint it some way that it isn't. No, probably eating together. We'd mostly eat together just because that was practical. So we had a big table. Scotch, I didn't get into Scotch until I was a bit more grown up. 21, 22 years old. After starting to work in a bar.
Really?
But it was only then that it really started to. My dad drank Scotch. He would drink mostly Talisker. Talisker, yeah. But he would drink whatever he got as a gift or anything like that. We weren't
kind of special occasion.
Yeah, we weren't overly wealthy growing up. So. But yeah, that was my first ever interaction with Scotch, is when I had like an ulcer, like a canker sore, I think you call it here.
Yeah.
And there was a rumour that if you sort of rinse Scotch over it, it takes away the pain.
It does help, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
It hurt like hell. And then I spat it back out onto like the glass. I was 8 years old.
Oh, 8,
so I spat it back out into the glass. And I think my dad intended for me to take a little sip and then hand back the glass so he could drink the rest of it. But I spat it back in. And he was like, shit. So he went, right, you might as well just, you might as well just drink it.
Yeah.
So let me have a
you got recycled scotch already.
Yeah,
like
can't
in the
let it go to
glass.
waste. So let me have a decent dram of scotch at 8 years old. I'm guessing 8. I don't know the exact age.
Either way, I'm envious. I didn't have scotch till I was 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So
And again, I'm guessing it was a Talisker because that was like what my dad would drink most if he ever had his hands on it. So yeah, so that like put me off scotch for like 14, 15 years. And then I got back into it. So.
Yeah, well, in a serious kind of way.
Yeah. It's sort of evolved from one thing into another. So I was still at college when I got back into it.
Yeah, but that was so when you talk about process and like the chemistry of it and things, which is obviously a huge foundation for scotch or any distillation, it just seems. Did you see that your degree would be best applied for booze? Because it could be used in so many different ways. So how does that introduction work? Where you're getting
again, and I read about how certain people end up in certain jobs. And there's so many people who say, "Oh yeah, I knew I wanted to do this since I was 2, or I knew I wanted to do this since I was 4 or 5." You know, I didn't. What I did know is the degree I chose would give me an opportunity to work in various industries: pharmaceuticals, oil, food, water, and food is like a real generic term, which would include the alcohol industry.
Yeah, consumables.
Consumables, yeah. So I knew there was just lots and lots of opportunities. And then halfway through the course, so not when I picked it, but halfway through, lots of people were joining Diageo, which is one of the bigger whiskey makers, possibly the biggest whiskey maker.
Yeah, I think we've heard of those guys.
Yeah, heard of them once or twice, yeah. So I think halfway through I figured this is somewhere which I could end up going.
Yeah.
But I was still just staying pretty generic, I wanted to get a job when I left university. It wasn't like I was narrowed right in on where I ended up.
Just kind of open to whatever opportunity felt, right?
Yeah, I think the narrowing in to realising this is what I want to do forever was like halfway through my first year with Diageo, because I worked on like a really cool project and I worked with people who'd been in this industry for a long time. So I really started to get it then.
Sure. Did your family have one feeling about it, one way or the other? They're like, no, cool, you're doing something practical with that degree.
Yeah, I think they were just keen for me to get a job, I think they had that many kids.
Yeah.
Like, just get out the house.
Just you could be like a landscaper, just fucking like do your thing.
I need a gym or something probably.
But it seems like you took to it.
Yeah.
Scotch itself became kind of like this interesting topic for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I started, so probably started in about like when I was 22, 23, something like that.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at university, at college, she had a girl she was friends with who started going out with this guy called Craig. And me and him got quite pally, so we used to all hang out together. He was into the same soccer team as me and used to hang out. And whenever I go round his house, just when we were getting ready to head out at night, he always had 3 or 4 bottles of scotch. And that, in my generation, was fairly uncommon.
Yeah.
Usually young people drank beer. Maybe they'd drink some spirits, but they'd be white spirits.
Sure.
And possibly you'd drink whiskey at a wedding, a funeral, a christening, a special occasion. Yeah, occasions. But no, he always had a few scotches there, and he was just someone who was into it. So it was him that kind of started me on it. He was like, try this one. What do you think of this one? What do you think of that one?
A spirit guide.
Yeah. He was like, so I started really getting into it. And then the funny thing was, like, he moved abroad, for a long time, and I randomly met up with him, not totally randomly, but I managed to meet with him like 2 years ago. Yeah. I was like, hey, how's it going? So he was living out in the Middle East, and he was a quantity surveyor. I was like, how's it going? He's great. And he's like, what is it you do? And I was like, well, and I've got a confession to make. I was like, no, I make whiskey. So he was like, wow. Because when I first met him, I was like, I don't really drink it that much. Don't know much about it. But
were you able
to? In the 10
to,
years, it's pretty much flipped.
That's amazing. Were you able to say, this is what I've been working on? And he's like, oh, I've heard of that. Or saying, just like you're teaching him.
Yeah. So
the student becomes the teacher.
Went round to his house, and he had a bottle of Ardbeg in the house. And I was like, I made that.
That's incredible.
So he's now moving back to Scotland. So I think I owe him some free samples.
Sure. I love that. I don't know. That you learn from these people when they go in these other directions, but then somehow you excel, right? You excel.
Well, he was just a drinker of it. He never worked in the industry.
But that passion, though,
was
right?
Just drinking it, but he loved Scotch.
Yeah.
And then after that, a few years after him sort of just showing me how to drink Scotch, what he liked, what he didn't like, kind of thing, then the job for Diageo started to appear, and I was like, yeah, this could be the one for me.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And again, sort of serendipitously, I applied for the job because my girlfriend was homesick. We were living down in England, so I applied for the job then. And then when I got the job, they said, where do you want to go? And again, I said, I want to go wherever the best job is. You know, I really don't know how to choose. I'm not a member of the company yet. And again, it was another bit of luck or serendipity or whatever you want to call it, that they placed me up in malt distilling. So I started working on maltings, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was doing quite a low-level project. They were just trying to introduce me to the company. But then they made the decision to build Rose Isle, which was the first single malt Scotch distillery in 30 years.
No kidding.
And then because of the degree I had and being a graduate, I got in on the project right on day one. So it's just all these sort of...
Serendipitous, I think, is a great word for it.
Yeah, just all these sort of being right place, right time, and then grabbing the opportunity.
Well, you seem like a good bloke. You're not too, not too pretentious, right? Like, this is the thing. I think that with Scotch, I'm sure you travel. I know you guys were in Houston at Reserve 101 last night talking about Glenmorangie. And I'm going to say this right eventually. It's one of those things I'm kind of getting to try to say. But
what Glenmorangie?
Glenmorangie, thank you.
So think like an orange.
Yeah, I know. I keep hearing this, but I still fuck it up.
Yeah.
Still fuck it up.
It's because the middle, it's actually 3 words. So it's Glen.
Yeah.
And then space. And then more.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go.
And then Angie.
Morangie.
So back in the day, so more means big.
Okay.
So that's why Glen means kind of valley, and the anthe bit means peace.
Peace.
So it just means big, peaceful valley, or Glen of tranquility.
Yeah.
But that's why. So it's Glenmorangie. I really wouldn't worry about it because, I don't even want to pick a percentage, but a high percentage of people say something that's different, but it's recognisable.
Well, I'm learning Spanish right now, so I'm fucking everything up. Like, I'm pronouncing Scottish like terms with and like rolling all these things. So, pardon that for me. But being out in the field, talking about Scotch like it's a larger category. Is it stiff? Is it stuffy? Is it pretentious? Because you, to me, do not feel that way. We're talking about dumb shit, but to you and I, it's awesome, right? I love talking about movies and it's stuff that's really, really influential for us. Uh-huh. But you're in rooms all the time with probably rich white dudes that are drinking Scotch. But how is that, being in that room generally and traveling? Is it loose? Is it stuffy?
I wouldn't say stuffy. No, I think you tend to have a mix of people in a room.
Yeah.
The one thing is everyone's really passionate about, which is great. So you're just really appreciative of that. It's really cool to get to travel around the world.
Yeah.
When they let me out of Scotland, I get to go to some really cool places. I guess sometimes people have deep set opinions on how to drink Scotch, and I'll never change their mind, and that's fine. So some people from like my dad's generation, if I say I'm going to add some water to this, they say, nah, you've just ruined that Scotch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I tend to think I know what I'm doing a little. But that's
I don't know.
okay.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But
some people are just like, no, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. I suppose it's just that's how they like it. And that's great. But you just got to appreciate there's lots and lots of different people who want to drink it in lots of different ways.
Do you think?
But then I'll get guilty of it too, because I'd say 5 years ago or something, you asked me, should you put single malt Scotch in a cocktail? I'd probably say no. Because I'd tried stuff that had just been straight switches.
Right.
So instead of putting vodka into a cocktail, just put any single malt Scotch. And of course it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But now people are making really good cocktails, and they're literally focusing in on the flavours of Glenmorangie Original or the flavours of Ardbeg Ugadal or whatever it is, and they're making cocktails that suit.
Well, that's something that Dan did.
I've had to hold my hands up and say,
it's changed the whole way that we look at these things, because, the people that are becoming actualized drinkers are younger, right? Yeah. Information, since it's so ubiquitous, anybody can learn about every piece of the process, which is a great thing because there's so much transparency now.
Yeah.
It's not like, I want a Rob Roy, right? I think that's the right cocktail I'm thinking of. And so all of a sudden, that's a fucking amazing cocktail that you never really would have thought of putting a brilliant Scotch into.
Yeah.
You just put a throwaway Scotch.
No, you're right.
But yeah, Dan was here just a few months ago at Pesce and kind of saying like, okay, guys, it's okay that we do this. It's okay to break the formality. If it tastes good and it feels good, it's all about it, right?
Yeah, totally. And the other thing I'd say, because you said, is it just full of stuffy older white guys? I mean, I genuinely think that
it's on my mind lately, being in the States. I just
anecdotally, and so I don't have any numbers or percentages or figures, but just what I see in Scotland, what I see back home, what I see in England and the rest of the UK, what I see when I come to America is, I think there is more younger people drinking Scotch straight off.
Yeah.
Which is, a real change to what I was used to. Like when I was at college, no one was drinking Scotch, or or 1%.
Right,
The guy
right.
Craig that I talked about.
Well, it's
There's only
become
one interesting dude that was doing it. Whereas now you get an awful lot of people, and I think it is information. I think it's partly education. It's partly maybe affordability of it. It's partly availability of it.
I think
but people are learning a lot more about Scotch and especially single malt. You see it more and more.
This interesting notion, and I never really thought about this because I'm stubborn. You know, I was a punk kid and all that shit. So it's like, I'll drink what I want to drink because that's just how I'm going to be. But single malt's no longer your grandfather's drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's your peers' drink. And so you don't have to feel like people feel when they feel uncomfortable about drinking something or that they'll be judged for it, they don't drink it. But now that it's kind of becoming ubiquitous and people are getting more familiar with scotches and not just hinging so much on how old they are, now it's becoming a drink of the people.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a really big difference versus 10 years ago.
I guess, yeah, I think you're right. And I think the other thing is, let me think, like in the 1980s, that's when single malt pretty much started. Now, it's been made for hundreds of years.
Sure.
That's when, as a thing, it started. So the 1990s, it was slowly becoming available. I think it's now you really can go into a liquor store and find quite a lot of different single malts to try.
Yeah.
So I think that helps a lot too. Because even if someone tells you about a certain single malt and it tastes this way and it tastes that way, if you can't walk into a store and get it, or you can't order it from behind a bar. So I think that's a big part to play in it too.
It is,
but definitely the amount of information that's out there, it's getting better all the time. I'm getting to speak to a lot more people about it, and some people just literally like soak the information in, and then they just want to try something new, something different.
Yeah.
Keep coming back to the ones that they love.
It's an amazing thing.
It's a great job. It's a great industry. It's a great thing to be doing.
So social. So before we talk about what I feel may be the most formative chapter of your career with Glenmorangie, how do you like the traveling? How do you like being on stage? And I think I asked Dan the same question. You know, you're the center of attention. Now, I'm not saying it's egotistical, but you're out there, you're performing. You've got a script, you're reading the crowd. How do you like that piece of the job?
Well, yeah, I quite like it. The travel bit, I'm not going to lie, when you have to travel to especially the west coast of America, so that's the furthest point away from Scotland, and you need to travel to Asia, the being in a plane is not a lot of fun. And there's no denying the fact it's hard work. It's rising pretty early in the morning, working 2, 3, 4, 5 events towards the end of a night. Yeah. So it can be tough. But yeah, I like to talk. I used to be very shy and I find it very tough to speak in public.
How did you work on that? To
practice.
Just practice.
Practice, I think, and sort of coming out my shell a bit, growing up a little when I went to college instead of being in sort of like survival mode in a high school.
Right.
And then, it just comes. It just sort of clicked. And then if you're talking about something you're passionate about, that really helps.
It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it gets a lot easier. And then, I do enjoy speaking to people. I tend to get good feedback from my tastings.
Yeah.
And I mean, but that's pretty good because you're sitting there with people who, want to hear about Scotch. So it's not like you're cold calling someone.
A great point. They want to like spend some time with you.
Yeah, and it tends to be in cool venues like last night in Reserve 101 in a little private room. So it was a very cool spot, except for the fact that it didn't have any air conditioning. So
oh shit, I didn't
literally
know that.
It was a hot spot.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, the Scotch helps because you stop feeling it after a while.
Well, I almost died. So I mean, Scottish people don't do well above 60 Fahrenheit. So
that's fair.
This was like double that. But no, like I say, you're sitting with a big crowd of people drinking some really nice Glenmorangies and some really exclusive Ardbegs. So I wasn't going to leave the room for that.
We can't, right? So the last kind of question about this piece, when you talk about balance, you've got access to beautiful, sometimes expensive, exquisite spirits. How do you put a line in the sand and saying, well, I'll drink this and not this, not tonight, but tomorrow? Like, how do you build that balance of drinking and being social and keeping your head on straight, which is a difficult thing?
I'm not sure I know what you mean. How do you mean balance? I went to like balance of flavors inside a Scotch.
Oh, right.
I went down the wrong route, I think.
The consummate taster, right? That's right, Brendan. No, what I mean is you've got temptation around you all the time.
Oh, yeah.
How do you balance not drinking with drinking and engaging with these folks?
Yeah, so on the roads, we get to go to nice venues. We get to have very nice dinners.
Right.
So I always stay in a hotel with a gym. So we got a 2-hour break. So I've literally just come out the gym. I took up running. So I used to always play soccer.
Yeah.
Now I've just got too old to play soccer, too many injuries. But I like to run, so I like going on distance runs.
Yeah.
So that helps my music as well. So that's quite an eclectic playlist for going running.
Yeah.
I ran my first marathon this year as well.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's a way to it's just a good bit of balance to stop it from just being about, just constantly really enjoying single malts.
Yeah.
So I think that all helps. And then when you're on the roads, Dan and the other ambassadors, they're good to me. They give me some pretty hard days where we've got lots and lots and lots of events.
Yeah.
And then they give me some other days where it's a little bit more, spaced out, so I get a chance.
So health. I mean, that is a really important thing as we grow older. I think you and I are roughly the same age, I think.
Yes, I'm 1980, I was born.
Yeah, me too. See, there we go.
Perfect.
Same age, in fact. But it's one of those things where it's easy to get booze. It's real easy. But it's really difficult to say, I'm going to take this time out, focus on my body, focus on my mind, and all of that balance. So running, the fact that you go, make sure to make time for that. I think that's a really important message for people. You have to do that.
Yeah, well, I just like running.
Yeah.
I just like running. And then I got involved with a friend who wanted to run a marathon, and my hometown had its first ever marathon this year, so that's why we did it.
That's crazy.
It's just that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And then I suppose there are things when you're on the road and you're talking about this, it's just putting breaks in schedules, make sure you eat.
Yeah.
In this temperature, make sure you have plenty of water.
Well, you might melt. You might literally melt in front of me.
I could evaporate. Normally I'd go outside for a run, but I'm not going out in that.
It's not. It's very breezy today. However,
yeah,
but you still might die.
A breezy hot fire.
Yeah, it's something like a cauldron. I don't know, something like that. Well, so then this opportunity, you spent a great amount of time working in different pieces of the business in New York and in Scotland and the UK for Diageo. How did the opportunity come about to work with Glenmorangie?
Yeah, so I had been the distillery manager at Oban Distillery, and I was there for a couple of years. And then I moved from Oban to Islay. And on Islay, I was the group manager. So I looked after all of Diageo sites on Islay. So that's Lagavulin, Kalila, Port Ellen, which used to be a distillery, but is now a maltings. So it makes big, smoky malted barley.
Yeah.
And then also the visitor centres and the engineering centres there. And I was there for about 3 years. Yeah, 3 years pretty much dead. And I was coming towards the end of my tenure on Islay, because Diageo like to rotate people here, there and everywhere.
Sure.
And towards the end of that, I was also getting married. So I was getting married in the March of that year, which was 2014. And at the same time, so as we're approaching the end of 2013, I'm making preparations to get married, starting to wonder about, where are we going to live? Because my fiancée at the time was living on the mainland.
Yeah.
And the other thing I used to do is when I made malted barley, the biggest, smokiest batches of malted barley we made, we sold to Ardbeg Distillery.
Okay.
So I knew the Ardbeg team because I was literally their supplier. So I would supply them with lorry loads of malt each week, and we'd meet maybe every quarter, so every couple of months, to review how happy they were, what they were looking for, what could be changed. So I knew Mickey and the team well. I also play soccer.
So you had some good contacts over there already.
Yeah, and I also play soccer, so I knew half the team that work at Ardbeg because they were in the same soccer team as me. So I used to run out with an Ardbeg sponsorship on my soccer jersey.
Were they sponsoring you?
Island, which everyone used to find quite weird, because I worked for Port Ellen and Lagavulin, but I was running about with an Ardbeg top on. So all of that came together. So at the same time as I thought I would just stay with Diageo, to be honest. I couldn't see me going anywhere else. But then as I was getting ready to get married, me and my wife were trying to work out, well, where will we live?
Yeah.
What will we do? She was thinking about moving to Ireland. I was like, but I won't be here forever. They'll rotate me. And at that same time, I got contacted by a company who were doing the recruiting for this job to take over as like the assistant to Dr. Bill.
I mean, it's kind of a big job, right?
Yeah.
How did they even know who to look for?
So, well, I don't know. You would have to ask them that.
Yeah.
But they'd been looking for like 3 years and they hadn't quite found the right fit. They'd changed the job description a few times. They'd moved it up. They'd moved it down. They'd made it more senior, made it more junior. But when I seen it, I thought, I'm not sure this role's quite the same seniority that I was at, because this was quite a junior role.
Yeah.
But I'll go in and have a word. And so I got invited in and I got to sit down with Bill and with the operations director as well, a guy called Pete. And we had a chat. And I think at the end of that first chat, we all kind of agreed this job isn't really the right one, is it?
Yeah.
So we had like a real mature discussion about it. But then about a month later, they asked me to come in again. And they says, we've thought about it and we might actually change the role a bit to sort of suit where you're at right now, what you want to do.
Wow.
And then from that, it kind of evolved. So we sat and we chatted 4 or 5 times. And also Bill gave me a kind of surprise sensory test where I had to pick out flavours. I had to do nosing of like 25 samples. I had to taste 2 whiskies and write down the tasting notes, the colour, the initial aroma,
the gauntlet.
the tasting. Yeah, so it ran a gauntlet of stuff, which fortunately I passed. And then actually on my honeymoon, on the first day of my honeymoon, I got the call and they said, you've got the job.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's kind of how it happened, which was 3.5 years ago. So, and then when I started, I'd kind of figured, well, this will be, if I do well, I can become the replacement of Bill.
Right.
And Bill said, well, that's why you're here. That's the whole intention of why I've hired you, is for you to take over from me.
Did you ever expect 10 years prior that you would be leading a distillery like that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just knew it sounded like an exciting job, and as I spoke to all the people that work at that company, at the Glenmorangie company, I knew more and more that I could really work here. I'd really enjoy it. I really think this would be a good move.
Yeah.
So it's a big step to leave a big company where I was in quite a safe role and I was established. But there's been no regrets because Dr. Bill's like a really good guy.
You guys get on well?
Yeah, very, almost too well. Have a similar sense of
humour.
let's
get to work. Let's stop. Yeah.
Yeah, similar sense of humour, similar attitude to whiskey, similar attitude to life. You have lots of really weird similarities, even some mannerisms.
No kidding.
Kind of freak this guy David Blackmore, who's the global brand ambassador for Glenmorangie and Ardbeg. He gets freaked out by it because he knows Bill really well. And then he sees me do stuff and he's like, oh, this is like history repeating itself,
That's crazy. Yeah. Well, so it seemed like it was a cultural fit from the beginning. It was fateful in a way.
Yeah.
That you presumed or got that position and now are working and blending and all of that. So this is the thing that's, it's been on my radar this whole past 33 minutes is Dan pulled out this kind of unlabeled bottle. This juice here, you had a hand in it.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that's most exciting about it, whether it's a mezcalero or tequilero. Those guys that make it, that I could sit here and sip it with you.
Yeah.
And your stinky hands have been all up in that thing. So what is this beautiful, unmarked, kind of prohibition-looking little bottle that we get the privilege of sipping here?
So this whiskey isn't even available yet. So this is a Glenmorangie.
Yeah.
And it's called Astar. Now, for any of the people who listen to your podcast, they might have heard of Glenmorangie Astar before, because about 10 years we released this product. It was a one-off, kind of. It was about for a little short period of time, just a couple of batches of this Glenmorangie matured in extra special casks, sort of bespoke casks.
Sure.
Now it was so successful, this Glenmorangie Astar, that it inspired the Private Edition series, which is our one-off, once-a-year release. So much so that some people think this was the first Private Edition Glenmorangie Astar. It wasn't. But basically, this is one of the best whiskies I'd ever tasted and one that I really loved before I'd worked for the company.
Man.
And I've always wanted to bring it back.
Yeah.
So Bill and I got challenged by some of the team and they said, what can we bring out as a one-off if you had to make one? And Bill and I both had said separately, Glenmorangie Astar. So what it is Glenmorangie's famous for being matured in bourbon casks. And when you buy bourbon casks, you use them. And the first time you use them, you call it first fill. The second time, second fill.
Yeah.
So this is all in Glenmorangie first fill casks. So it's American white oak and
first fill,
ex-bourbon.
amazing.
But it goes further than that. These are like completely bespoke casks. We call them our designer casks. They cost like 5 times a regular cask.
Are they still the same 53-gallon kind of thing? Or are they different?
Yeah. So they cost 5 times the price.
Yeah.
They are ex-bourbon casks made of American white oak, but we literally control every single stage of the process. Wow. So we find the trees that we want, which are slow growth, tight grained. We then have them air seasoned for the exact amount of time we want. We then have them filled with a bourbon for about 4 years. And when I say about 4 years, actually, it's 4 years pretty much on the dot.
Yeah.
We then have them emptied and sent to us. And then we fill them with the floral, fruity Glenmorangie New Make Spirit. And then we mature them in these designer casks.
Yeah.
Now, the first ever Astar was Glenmorangie matured in these designer casks. Since then, we just simply can't get enough of these casks, nowhere near, because they can only make them in tiny amounts because they are so specific.
Sure.
So that's why Astar has never existed again. But it's always been part of the recipe of Glenmorangie Original. Possibly something we don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
But I've been working on it for a couple of years now and doing lots of analysis as has one of the team in the Whiskey Creation team, a girl called Bryony McNiven, who runs some of our analytical machinery. And we've been pulling lots of data, and I've been doing lots of sensory analysis on the extractives, the oak flavourings that come through. And we finally got, I got enough of these special designer casks ring-fenced that I was able to start working on a brand new Glenmorangie.
Oh, it's amazing.
So this is the second release of Glenmorangie.
Version 2.
This is like the 2017 we're calling it.
Yeah.
So it comes out in like a month, you know, so it's coming out very soon.
So we get to sample this before it's out. That's pretty brilliant.
And the last thing I'll say is, I don't like Glenmorangies necessarily above 92 proof. I think the sweet spot is between 80 and 86. But I've been travelling for 3 years now and talking about whiskey when I get the chance. And probably the most consistent bit of feedback I get is, we really want to try a higher proofed Glenmorangie. The original Astar was 114.2.
Wow, okay.
So this one, it's not that high, because that was my one criticism of that previous whiskey, which I loved. It was just too high for me. It kind of closed it up and you lost some of the flavour.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I always added some water to it. This one, I would have done it even lower, but I have to listen to what people are asking for. They want something that's over 50, over 100. So this one's 105 proof.
105.
So it's kind of like all the classic flavours that you'll get in Glenmorangie original, but the woody bit's really turned up.
Yeah.
So as my boss, Dr. Bill, says, he says it's like Glenmorangie on steroids. So it's like supercharged.
I mean, it
really upped. All first fill.
The nose is insanely beautiful. I mean, it's you can smell, because I like a little bit of alcohol in the nose. I definitely do. If I can't get any, then it's really difficult for me to trust it.
Yep.
But this has punch, but it also has beauty. And so now you sipped it, so now I got to sip it too.
I always get this massive sort of perfumed floral note on it at this higher strength. And it has a nice bit of reassuring, spicy, clove, toastiness, if you like.
But it's so cool because it's both dark and light, right? You have some punchy, crisp fruit elements, right? But then,
absolutely, yeah.
Then you got some wood and you got those dark spices. So for me, this is very, very sultry. You know, I could kiss this a lot. You know, that's how it goes. It's just it makes you want more. You know, until you've had too much, I guess, and then you walk on. But when is, you said, so about a month this is coming out?
Yes, this comes out in like a month's time, something like that.
Yeah.
This is where I fall down because I make the whiskey.
Well, it's hard. It's a hell of a journey to get it over here, right?
I put the batch together like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So once that happens for me, it then gets bottled and it comes out to the world. So I'm never great on specific launch dates, but it's coming out soon. And
this is from
this year.
A brainchild of yours. This is killer.
This is very much, I did the cast selection. I put the batch together. Bill is still in charge, and Bill will be for a very long time. So he has final sign off, and he's always there to help me. But he came in and looked at it, and he said, "This is it. This is it. It's perfect."
Man, it's incredible.
That was good to hear.
Yeah,
but he's not going anywhere anytime soon. But he is letting me get involved. That's a way to learn. That's his theory to how you learn, and I agree. He's letting me get my hands dirty, if you like.
Well, among other amazing things happening at Glenmorangie. And I'm wondering where this evolves to, and I bet you don't know what I'm going to ask you, but how the hell did you build a bike? You guys built the bike out of used casks.
Yes.
What? Wouldn't you inevitably get pulled over because it smells like whiskey? They think you're biking around and having a little bit too much fun?
So it's called like Beyond the Cask. So it's sort of back to Glenmorangie original. And Glenmorangie's original is famous for only using our casks twice. Because, like we talked about first fill and second fill, and with Astar there, this is like a completely bespoke first fill. But with Glenmorangie original, we use firsts and seconds.
Yeah.
And lots of distilleries will use their casks 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, which is perfectly good, and it makes great whiskey. But we are so specific because we want Glenmorangie original to be about 60% oak derived flavours and oak driven, and about 40% that spirit quality, that spirit character of the distillery. That's why we only use the cask twice. First time gives a lot of vanilla, a lot of honey, some coconut, that clove spice. The second time allows that fruity character of the distillery to shine through. And again, a common question, people say, well, what do you do after you've used the cask twice?
Yeah.
And this is just something that we started doing. So we made some wooden sunglasses last year in collaboration.
That's a good use, yeah.
With a company called Finlay. And this year we got together with this really cool American company called Renovo, who make just incredible bikes, and we sent them some of our casks after we'd used them twice.
Yeah.
And we sent them to them, and they've turned them into these unbelievable wooden bikes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Are you guys actually, so is there a plan to sell these bikes, or is it just something to say it'd be great to have, give them to the public or whatever?
I think you're able to buy these bikes, but we're going to have some events where we'll let people come and see the bikes and let them try some Glenmorangie original, and they can just see what else can happen to these casks, because it is high quality American white oak.
Yeah,
so
it's very
it's
strong.
just a way of showing something else that you can do after we've used the cast twice.
Which makes a lot of sense, because sustainability, renewed, all these things are really, really important things for a distillery, especially because you're going through the water, you're going through the grain. But I just wonder how much I would just sit there and lick the bike. Just to be frank, like if it, I was kind of sniffing, it'd be like which one did they put it? Which one was aged in this bike that I've got? And the tires are rubber, right? Because that'd be amazing.
We can't quite. Maybe in 10 years' time, that could be the innovation where we suddenly invent wooden wheels. But, no, and the gears are made of metal.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fine.
Wooden gears and
we've come a long
wheels.
way already, which is great.
Yeah.
Can you see? This is kind of a stupid, funny question, but what's something else you could do with those barrels? You think about that?
I think.
Shoes? Clogs?
You could do clogs, yeah. You could do clogs. I mean, George Washington had wooden teeth.
See?
Maybe do a range of dentures.
Drum kits?
Definitely a drum kit.
You have to do that.
Definitely.
Oh my God, wouldn't that come full circle?
And then we could give him like drumsticks, maybe drum skins.
You could definitely make drumsticks. That should be really easier. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be too easy to turn the drumsticks into something else, but have wooden drums.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's good. All right.
I think it's just a little cool thing that we do, because we try to think, what do we do after we've used our cast twice?
Yeah, we gotta do something with it.
Yeah, So this time we're making bikes.
Well, we've got Whiskeys of the World. Is that why you guys are kind of traveling, talking about Glenmorangie? There's this Whiskeys of the World event tomorrow night, which would be good. You get to showcase some of the spirits. You're going to be there behind the booth with Dan as well?
So I will have a booth.
Oh, you have
there,
a masterclass.
And I have a masterclass too, yeah. And I was actually here last year as well to have a booth and a masterclass too. So I guess we try and fit our travel schedule, because I don't get to do it often.
Yeah.
Try and fit it to make a few festivals or a few events. But it is also here because there's new whiskies coming.
Yeah.
The biggest reason for this trip is at Ardbeg, one of my first projects, which started 3 years ago, was to make the 4th permanent edition of Ardbeg. And that launched right now. So it launched last week. It's called Ardbeg Anno. So that is the main reason for this trip. So it's Anno. So I've been working hard on Ardbeg Anno, as is Dr. Bill, but he's really pushed me to sort of have this project. This is something to cut my teeth on for the last 3 years. So it's to launch Ardbeg Anno in many ways, which is kind of like it's like a smokier and sweeter expression of Ardbeg 10, which is our most famous Ardbeg. So it sort of goes up in a smoky level, but it also has lots of sweet flavour, so it's going in two directions.
But it kind of offsets it. Those two things, if they're both amped, they kind of can't not cancel each other out, but they enhance each other.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you know what? They actually do cancel each other out if you're not careful.
No kidding.
And that was the big challenge, because we went down two routes. We thought, let's make a really sweet Ardbeg.
Yeah.
And it tasted amazing. The one I was thinking, it tasted like these sort of pan-fried figs with honey and balsamic vinegar over them. Yeah, because I like to eat. It tastes like that. But the problem is that was Ardbeg and PX cast, Pedro Jimenez cast. Yeah. But the problem with that was it didn't particularly smell of smoke. And if it doesn't smell and taste of smoke, it's not really an Ardbeg. It's not a permanent Ardbeg anyway. And this is to be the 4th expression of Ardbeg, first in 10 years. So then we started going down a different route, and I started looking at Ardbeg that had been maturing in new char oak, French oak casks. This is basically casks that would go to bourbon distillers, and we just literally got them before they went to the bourbon distillers.
I see.
So really punchy, spicy notes, but those notes almost enhance the smoke. They don't hide it.
Yeah.
So it was using these two very different parcels, along with using a sort of a spine or a heart of Ardbeg in the ex-bourbon casks. That's how we managed to get this further up smokiness, but this altogether rounder and sweeter flavour at the same time.
It's the Lennon punchiness and then the heart of Paul McCartney, right? So you got the softness and really you have the aggressiveness and the forward kind of thing. You'll hear me talk about that a lot, but that's how it is for me. It's like those two things balance each other out because they create total harmony in their differences.
Yeah, so first aromas, most people, so some people just get the sweetness, but first aroma should be of like that big medicinal Isla smoke. But then the sweetness does come. You get like, we call it treacle, which is a Scottish word, kind of like
molasses, right?
Yeah, candied molasses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you get some dried fruits, and you get this lovely, nice length in the whiskey.
Yeah,
and then as you taste, you start to get some more smoke, and it's like smoked tea. And you might even get like smoked botanicals as well, like burning coriander or flamed cinnamon.
Sure.
And then towards the end, the smoke continues, but then you get almost an interesting, like an intriguing kind of savoury note. And to me, it was almost like these sort of hen of the woods mushrooms that are a little thicker, a little meatier, and a char. Dr. Bill thought that it had a roasted artichoke flavour, grilled artichoke flavour. So that actually made.
Have you guys had dinner? Because I'm getting a little hungry now. Yeah. You're talking about all this.
I'm telling you, this is part of the job. Part of the job of being a distiller or a whiskey creator.
Tough job.
Eat lots of different foods. Don't just order the same thing off the menu. And just so much of it ties in together.
Are you guys going to have that tomorrow night to taste?
Yes.
Good.
We will. Because it's on shelf.
I'll
now,
skip dinner and just go
I just come and have it. Yes. So it came out first of the month.
Yeah.
So this has, like, genuinely, this has been 3 years of my life has gone into making this. So it's quite a nervy thing, letting people taste it for the first time. But so far, the feedback's been good.
That's incredible.
And there's a great review website called scotchwhiskey.com. It's quite a tough review site. They've given it a 90 out of 100. So
that's brilliant.
That felt really good as well.
Well, yeah, I've got to try it now.
Oh, well, please.
The final word in whiskey, obviously.
The place to stop is big, yeah.
So I've got 2 questions left for you because I know you've got a short trip here in Texas and you guys got great things to do this evening. So this is going to appeal to both of our love of pop culture. Okay. So you are at any bar you want in the world. And you can sip any scotch you want. Doesn't matter what it is, okay? But you can sit there and have a conversation with any living or deceased actor. Who would you love to just sit there and have a great chat and get on with?
This is going to require some thinking time.
Yeah.
That's tough. That is really, really tough.
It changes from season to season too.
Yes, one thing I got to say. So my big argument, and I've actually mentioned this at a couple of tastes I've been asked before, because I do a lot of movie quotes. Is, what's your favourite movie? And it's ridiculous. It's a toss-up between 2 probably. But then if you start mentioning more, you're going to get a list of 10.
Sure.
But the 2 that are always near the top, it's either Goodfellas.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's either Goodfellas or, it says a real bizarre change, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Perfect. Though.
But I mean the Gene Wilder one, not the
of course.
Johnny Depp one, because I did not like that at all.
No, it's not very good.
So I guess a really sad thing that I found out is for the 1 year with Diageo, I lived in Connecticut. And Gene Wilder, I mean, other Gene Wilder stuff I've loved, the stuff he did with Richard Pryor.
Oh, dude.
God, there's another guy I could talk about, Richard Pryor. But I found out Gene Wilder lived like 2 miles from me. Gene Wilder lived in Connecticut.
Way. Are you
and I only found out when he passed away, because he passed away recently.
Yeah.
And I found out Gene Wilder lived like 2 miles away. It's probably best I only found that out after he died, because I'd probably
tracked him down,
chapping on his door and try to get time. So probably that would be it. Probably it'd be Gene Wilder.
Oh man, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
All the stuff he did with Mel Brooks. I mean, it's just genius.
Mel Brooks, stuff he did with Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Even like he very rarely appeared in the UK, but some of the things that he did on chat shows were he was just phenomenal. Just a really, really great guy.
That's an amazing thing.
So I would go for that, because he has sadly passed away now.
Right.
As well,
and he, the love of his life passed too. Like think about how that motivates him. And Gilda Radner dies of cancer, and like he lived out his later years. I mean, I think he did get remarried eventually, but he's probably got such a story to tell.
Yeah,
that's good.
And since I've never met him, I would be tempted to offer this Ardbeg Anno, because I'm very proud of it.
Yeah,
it's been so much of my life, and I've lived on Islay for a long time. But you know what? I don't know what his tastes are. I don't know what he likes. So definitely like a whiskey that's like definitely one that connoisseurs love, but one that I would always use as an introductory as well. I'd probably sit down with Glenmorangie Original.
It's brilliant. So the last question, and maybe people ask you this too. You say Dr. Bill is going to be around for a long time. Of course he's going to be around for a long time. But what if you had the keys to the castle? What if you were the guy leading it? Does that seem like something that appeals to you here in the future? To be the man?
Yeah. Well, that's the
goal,
plan.
Right?
Yeah, that's the
You're
plan.
being groomed? Like
Yeah. I mean, Bill's teaching me. It's like an apprenticeship. And he has done just things that he's pretty much shaped the single malt Scotch category with wood finishing, unlike anyone else. And there's some great people in there as well. So it's quite daunting to take over. But that is why I was that was one of the reasons that I came aboard.
Yeah.
And Bill is just fantastic. So the longer he stays, the more likely I am of success. But I know that eventually he will want to take his well-earned retirement.
Sure.
And I'm, some people say you're nervous about it, you're intimidated, you're this or that. I'm just excited. It's just such a cool job. And there's so many. Don't forget, Bill is in charge of like a big team of people.
Right.
And there's so many talented people there. There's people who worked there for 45 years and they've still got another 10 to go. There's people who just absolutely are so passionate about these two distilleries. People so passionate about Glenmorangie, people so passionate about Ardbeg.
Yeah.
So Bill leads this team, and to take over eventually of that team, that gives me confidence that it's going to be a success. But the longer Bill stays there, the more chance.
The more you can kind of ensure you're doing good work.
The more I know I'm doing the right thing. But so far, so good.
It's amazing. The Astar it's just really lovely, and to be able to sip it with you is again really a pleasure. And having Dan be so accommodating, it's great working with Glenmorangie and tasting Ardbegs and going.
Yeah, and you got it as well, Glenmorangie. Nailed it. Nailed the pronunciation.
Finally. So it took like 4 times. But then I was like, more. I'll start rolling the R's and stuff.
That's what you want to do. You want to speak a Scottish accent, roll your R's.
Well, I hope that the rest of this Texas travels and all the rest of the time here in the States, it's really fruitful. It was just brilliant getting to chat with you, and I thank you so much for taking the time out, man. And I'll see you tomorrow night, certainly. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'll see you tomorrow to try some Anno.
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
It's a date.
Thanks. Chat soon. Well, there we have it. Head of maturation for Glenmorangie and Ardbeg, Mr. Brennan McCarron, talking about lots of different things I like to talk about. But I'll tell you what, this was the conversation. I was relatively unfamiliar. Of course, I'd seen bottles of Glenmorangie and Ardbeg across the bar many times throughout my travels and here in Austin, Texas. But this was the first man who is the conduit into the juice. Such an easygoing guy. I love some movies. And to sip the 2018 release of Astar Glenmorangie with him, beautiful, beautiful whiskey. And then the following night at Whiskeys of the World here in Austin, Texas, finally trying his concoction, his baby, his creation for Ardbeg & O, a beautifully rich and PX finished scotch from Ardbeg. It is something that you should aspire to drink. It's so inexpensive too. It's almost mind-boggling. But Dan Kroll, thank you so much for making this chat happen. My apologies for taking so long to release it, but you know what? There's no better time than the present to think about scotch and sip it as well. So thanks everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter how sucked in you are to How to Get Away with Murder now that it's on Netflix and its full 4 seasons, or if you're thinking Scandal really went out with a very, very minimal bang, please keep dancing.